I started out DJing and spinning in records and producing basically through a friend of mine in junior high called Chris Cook. We used to be in band class playing. I've always been a drummer. I started playing drums when I was 6 years old, and I met him in junior high. He played bass. He had an uncle that would get mixtapes and records from New York and let us listen to them and have them or whatever and practice our breaking routines in the living room and tear up his mother's rug in the living room. His uncle had his turntable set up in my friend's house, so first time I saw turntables, I was like, that's it. I want to do that. It was the closest thing I knew as a drummer to a percussive instrument at the time, but it was kind of moving with the times, you know, like that was like the new age stuff at the time was turntables. So got into getting my own pair of turntables, started buying a bunch of records, loved Mixmaster Ice from UTFO, basically wanted to just do what he was doing. Mimic him, learn his cuts, learn Jazzy Jeff's cuts, Howie T's cuts, just listening to records, bringing back the needle and just doing that. At the same time, I was also programming beats. I actually started programming beats, you know, like about a year or so before I started getting into turntables. So I used to sneak my little TR-606 drum machine into band class, and when the conductor was working on horns, I'd be making beats in my headphones and stuff. So I've always liked beat machines and been very drum machine oriented. So that's how I got started. I met J5, well, the group, it was two different groups. So I met Jurassic 5 through a cafe in Los Angeles called the Good Life Cafe. It's kind of home of a lot of very known acts now, like Snoop Dogg, Corrupt, and Far Side, a plethora of groups that came out of Los Angeles through there. It was a cafe, a herb cafe that allowed, you know, kids from the neighborhood to come down and put their name on a list and freestyle every Thursday night. The only rule was you couldn't curse. So it was dope in that way because it really made the MCs hone in on their lyrical skills, you know. And so J5 was two groups at the time. It was Rebels of Rhythm and Unity Committee. I met them really at a place called Rat Race, which I was the DJ for. So they kind of all met there, and I went there, but I didn't kind of know everybody there. But it was two groups formed as one plus me. So that's how we kind of met. We really enjoyed each other's style, and J5 was the first set of MCs that I had ever met in Los Angeles that knew almost as much, you know, or if sometimes even more than me about records. You know, usually DJs could talk records or 12 inches with each other, but these MCs knew old records. They knew, you know, the foundation of hip hop and, you know, odd stuff like, you know, Master Dawn Committee and like, you know, the strange things that came out that came and went that didn't stay around, which most MCs that I used to talk about or talk to didn't really know much about. So we got along in that way. They were all kind of like encyclopedias of knowledge, and they really respected the stuff I was respecting at the time. So we formed a group. As two groups formed as one. We did a 12-inch. We weren't really known that we were going to be a group, and then we signed to TVT. They're like, what's the group's name? We're like, we don't have a name yet. And then Charlie's girlfriend said, y'all think you're the Fantastic Five. You're more like the Jurassic 5. And we're like, that's it. So yeah, that's how we got started. Cut made the very first beat that bonded everybody together, actually. That was the first song. Unified Revolution was the first song that brought everybody together. And it was just really a song originally created to bring the crews together to do like a, you know, just a song together. We weren't trying to be a group. But it turned out so good and we worked so well together, that we decided to keep going with it. When TVT was kind of like, well, we don't know what to do with J5. They're a novelty group is what they called us. I was working at Correct Records at the time, which was a small independent label. We decided, you know, I knew from working at Correct that we can do it ourselves and we can do it independently. So while TVT was, I guess, sleeping on us or whatever, we decided to record during that whole time and make an EP, which has been kind of like the bread and butter to, you know, or the launching pad to J5's career, so to speak. And we put out the EP independently, and it went gold, and we got picked up through Interscope because of the EP.